part of the plan. So Riot decided to come up with another cinematic within 2 days of another one. So the second I finish reacting to that one, this one comes out. And at this point it's tradition on this channel. So here we go. Hey guys, I'm Brian, a 3D animator. And in this video we're going to be reacting to another League of Legends cinematic. And if you're not familiar with how we do things on this channel, we first react to the video, then we pop it over to Sync Sketch and we analyze some of the animations, some of the cool scenes that we saw, and talk a little bit about what's intriguing about them. I don't want to ramble too much, so let's just hop in. Okay, so in this video I think we're going to be seeing Kaisa, Evelyn, I-DLE, and Ari. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I haven't seen this, but that's usually who's in the KDA group, so let's go ahead and watch this shit.
KDA, should we show them how we do it every day?
I love it. It's like super KDA. You could tell right away.
Kali that girl, Kali go girl, Kali don't stop, Kali don't skirt, Kali got the job, Kali got the word. Go 언제나 don't get burned. 넘쳐 흘러물 than a buffet, 죽여주잖아 like a buffet. 누가 감히 on my hotbed, 문 열지 마 there's a rock day. I'm giving you more cause I'm greater than. 필요 없는 시험들 다 뿐이미. But all of my numbers are talking babe. 부르마 on message monopoly. 넌 종이도 네 number money 필요 없대 너네들이 만든 돈이
Yeah, it's super like music video. They went for that vibe. It's a bunch of close-ups, just like hand gestures, and epic scenes with crazy lighting. Classic KDA pop that you get. Jesus. Dragon fangs? Yeah, the animation is very subtle for all of this. It's mostly just like camera work and a lot of visual effects. Yeah, so it stays like very true to just like how an actual KDA movie recorded. Except, you know, they were with their points for the effects and whatnot. But they stayed very true to that. Wow, they even got like fake sets and everything. So, they got the animators, or the effects guys were asking, how many camera flares do you want? Or sorry, how many lens flares do you want? And Riot must have been yes. That's it. Yes. It's like every scene, there's lens flare. It's crazy. Here you go. End it with 1, 2. Why not? But yeah, that was great. The music, per usual, is amazing. In terms of animation, it was very realistic. Like they just went for that classic, as I already mentioned, just that classic like KDA music video, just how it's filmed, how it's performed. Even like, you know, they even had like fake sets in there where like, you know, you'd have that stuff in like an actual video, in like a physical set, but they had that in 3D. So they had a fake set in this fake 3D set, just to like sell the fact that this is a KDA video. You kind of like forget you're watching animation when you're watching this, and you feel like you're watching just a regular like KDA music video. Alright, so just pop this into Sync Sketch and see what we can find. Alright, got my tablet out, got my stylus. So I'm predicting there isn't going to be too much for me to talk about in terms of animation per se, like character animation, but I'm going to try and talk about some of the artistic choices maybe. The first thing I see here is, my god, look at this transition. So we're like introduced to the first character. Honestly, I can't even tell who that is, but we see them in 3D, then we get this like 2D overlay of them in red and white, and then some shit happens. We got text, we got colors, we got maybe that's something to do with her skill, that symbol. We get the words "get 'em," which is really common in this music video. We hear it a lot. And then we go back to a silhouette, just different colors, everything just moving this way. And as the text moves this way, we transition into the 3D space, and we're moving this way with 3D space, and we finally get a close-up of the character. Who, I'll be honest, I still don't know who that is. But it's just like some of the transitions are just absolutely amazing. I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that for my videos, and I'd just be like, alright guys, let's jump in. And then that shit happens, and we go to the next scene. But this is so sick. It's cool. It's her putting on her helmet. And usually when you're putting on a helmet on a 3D character, it's really hard to make it look good if you're like not cheating it. And so it's exactly what they're doing. They're cheating it here. They're bringing the head forward, and they're just like sliding it on. But like realistically, what's happening is like the helmet's probably like clipping through her, like her ears, her back of her head, her hair is clipping through all that. But all you see is her tilting her head forward and the helmet coming down. So you just see the front half of that. But what's happening in the back of the scene is probably something like this. Like let's say, oh, let's change the color here. Let's say this is her head. Well, that's a thick neck. Let's say this is her head, and this is gonna be the helmet. So the helmet's probably looking something like this, and it's like it's completely like probably clipping over her ears. It's clipping over her hair. So that's her hair. And so all we're seeing is just this right here. We're not seeing all this mess back here. Just something to keep in mind. You're always cheating stuff in 3D. Just you cheat it to the camera to, well, one, to save time, but sometimes just things don't make sense. Like there was a scene in Ice Age, for example, where one of the characters had to get inside the other character's mouth, and so it just would have been impossible for that character to open their mouth like this wide. Just the rig didn't allow it. And so what they did is instead, as he opened his mouth, the second character kind of like really quickly like smeared in there. So instead of like climbing in there, it just really quickly, like within like 3 frames of like blurred, it smeared in there, and then it was in there. And so you get the idea across, but you don't necessarily have to show the action. And so you're kind of like, and obviously if you looked at it from the side, the character would have been like clipping through the mouth, but we were looking at it from this direction, you couldn't really tell. So they completely cheated it to camera. If they didn't do that, they would have had to completely go on, I said completely so many times, they would have had to gone back and completely, they would have had to come back and re-rig the character, re-rig the mouth of the character, so it is able to do that. And so it's really important to cheat stuff to camera when you're making animations, just to save on budget and time. And so that's probably what we're seeing here. That's pretty cool. We got some 2D graphics on top of the helmet. I love it. Yeah, and so here it is. Here's the hair I was talking about. Imagine putting this helmet on with that hair there. It's just not possible. It would not work. You would have to cheat it from the front like they did. That's something I actually did in the scene in the film I'm working on currently. I did this exact same thing. The character had to put on the helmet, but I had to cheat it off of camera, so he lifts up the helmet above the scene. So it was looking something like this, where this is my character and the red is the frame, and I had to bring the character's hands above the camera with the helmet. This is the helmet, and start putting the helmet on before the camera reaches up there. Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get it on, because it just would have looked weird. So you just have to hide things and do things off camera sometimes, or from a certain angle, just to make it work. So here we got some really nice poses on this character. We got a really nice line of action going there, and then a nice curved line for the arm. It's beautifully done, and again, it's very clear with the silhouette what's happening. They made a really good use of negative space here, and I love how she like cocks her hand. She's like about to flick her hand, it looks like. She's like rolling it up, her fingers are loose, and then whips it. So it's literally like a whip. Oh, let's go back. That's awesome. It's like you can tell it's like being driven by like the shoulder. This is so cool. So it's coming down with like the shoulder, and the kinetic energy just moving down to the elbow, then to the wrist, and to the fingers, just like it does with the whip here. It goes down, it bounces up, and then now the energy is moving its way to the wrist. The wrist flicks this way, and she ends up whipping the finger. And once again, I'm a sucker for the simple stuff. So here we have a nice walk cycle as she's like doing her things with her hand. But I really like the weight shift here. So she puts her foot down here, and then right away you can see the hip is starting to rotate up top right. And now it's starting to even out a little bit as the character moves her cog or center of gravity to lean that way, giving her enough balance to move this foot forward. And then once she plants this foot, we can see that hip now starts going this way. So it starts rotating up on the left side, screen left side. And her cog, her center of gravity, she's shifting her entire body this way as she's rotating. So it's just like a constant shifting of weight when you're walking or when you're turning. That's very important. And so if you are learning animation and you want to do a walk cycle, you want to do something body mechanic wise where the character is moving and it's not just standing still, you need to do some weight shift exercises, which I have tutorials for. I might link one at the top left or top right somewhere. Damn, okay, so for this scene I really wanted to catch them using the same animation for all the characters, but as I'm going through this frame by frame, there are some frames where the characters do have the same exact pose, but it seems they like, not only do they offset the timing of the characters, like let's change the color here. Character 1 and 2, they're pretty much on the same beat, and then character 3 and 4 are also on the same beat, but the animation is just slightly different enough that you wouldn't be able to tell if it was the same exact thing. Like the hands are in a different position sometimes, just barely. And so I wanted to say they use the same animation, but I just don't know. I don't know. It is slightly different, so we'll let it go for this one. So two cool things here is when she comes down, slides on her feet, and then does that thing to the beat of the sound, beat of the music. I really like the shifting of weight here. So right now she's rotating off of her foot, and so that's like that's her center of gravity essentially. She's rotating around her toes right here, and then she pushes herself this way, and so she's sliding now on the ground, and then once she finds her anchor again, and now her new anchor, her new center of gravity is her knee, and so now she's rotating around her knee, and so her entire body is just revolving around her new anchor. And I just thought that was cool. She just pushes herself off, changes anchors, and it's just all very intentional. It's all very intentional, and that's why it gives off that like realistic vibe, just because they take physics into effect. They're amazing animators. And another thing I actually really liked here is when I'll let you hear it, but as the music beat hits, she arcs, of course, you know, I love arcs. She arcs this way, looks at the camera, and these things just like explode. And then the camera actually does a little like zoom in on that too. And it has like all this little stuff has so much effect on you when you're watching it. You really feel the beats, you know? Let's watch this real time one more time, just so like you pay attention to those things and see like how strong that beat feels, just because the animation reacts to it, and then the camera reacts to it, and then the effects also add to it. Did you feel that? It was just like a line, a line, a line, a line. Then once that beat hits, there was beats before that, but once that beat hits, you're like, whoa. So something to keep in mind. Yeah, they really love those transitions where they go like, here, let me mute this. It fades to black, which is fine, but then what does she do? Once it fades back in, she points with her finger down, so you're already like, ooh, what's down there? And then the camera moves down and then moves around and fades to black, and then we come in with another like camera movement, so it's always like and then move somewhere else into a new scene. So they did an amazing job with the animation, but also you got to keep in mind the camera movement. That's a whole nother job. You got the whole layout team working on like just the camera movements and the setting up of the scene. So they did an amazing job as well. All right, and I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I don't want to turn this into like a purely reaction channel, but League of Legends, man, they're coming up with like cinematic after cinematic, and at this point it's tradition for me to do cinematics from Riot. So alright, now it's about 8:30 a.m. again and I got work starting in about 22 minutes. So huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you guys so much for the continuous support, and if you did enjoy this video, make sure to smash that like button, hit the sub button, stay notified of future videos. And with all that out of the way, happy animating, and I'll see you guys in the next video.